56-year-old homemaker Leonette Marie Purcell has not been seen or heard from since she vanished on December 16, 2004, from her Grand Lake home near the Halifax International Airport. Items in the Purcell's home appeared out of place or disturbed, contrary to normal or typical routine. An extensive search in the area of Grand Lake did not uncover her whereabouts. Leonette's personal banking and communications devices have not been accessed since her disappearance. Investigators are interested in identifying two unidentified males who were seen on a security camera at the Enfield Big Stop, one of whom the camera caught calling the Purcell home on the morning Leonette Purcell went missing. Several calls were made. The last call lasted 4 minutes. Neither man has ever been identified. The investigation is still ongoing, and police are asking for the public's help. Leonette is described as 5'2", about 135 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. The Purcell family has lost all hope of finding their loved one alive, but as far as police are concerned, the case remains open. In affidavits filed by Leonette's husband and son, Mr. Purcell said, "On the morning of December 16th, my wife went missing, apparently after going out to the mailbox. I last saw her earlier that morning before leaving for work." In 2004, the Purcell family filed a court application to have Leonette declared legally dead. Any person with information regarding the disappearance of Leonette Marie Purcell should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. December 15th, 2019, a 911 call was received advising that one Jason Andrew Smith was being taken by vehicle to Dartmouth General Hospital with a gunshot wound. Jason Smith was pronounced dead at 4:23 a.m. on December 16, 2019. Mr. Smith's fiancée told CTV News that she's frustrated there have been no arrests in the case. Sonia Smith knew Jason since high school, but only connected romantically a couple years before the murder. Sonia said her 45-year-old fiancé was a jokester, the life of the party, and an all-around good guy. They were planning a wedding before that tragic day in December. Jason left behind a large family who gathered in East Preston on Christmas Eve for his funeral. "Somebody knows something," said Sonia to CTV. "Somebody's either going to be convicted by God himself with their conscience, or just know that there are people out here that need answers because we can't have people that take people's lives and still be walking in society with us. It's just unfair." "Somebody definitely knows some information," said Halifax District RCMP spokesperson Corporal Lisa Croteau. "People sometimes won't talk to the police, so if you want to stay anonymous and call Crime Stoppers, then that information helps us a lot." Any person with information regarding the homicide of Jason Andrew Smith should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. December 3rd, 1996, family members of Jamie Maury Wyatt made a report to the St. John's RCMP reporting that 62-year-old Jamie Wyatt had not been seen since November 12, 1996. Mr. Wyatt had been living in Newfoundland but left Newfoundland in September 1996 to seek employment in Nova Scotia. The investigation revealed that Jamie Wyatt had been staying at the Twin Elms Motel on Inglis Street, Halifax, where he was last seen on November 16, 1996, although he was paid up until November 17, 1996. On the evening of November 16, 1996, Mr. Wyatt told staff at the Twin Elms that someone was going to be picking him up that evening to go out to a dinner party and other functions during the evening. Jamie Wyatt was never heard from again. The circumstances of Mr. Wyatt's disappearance are suspicious, and foul play is suspected. RCMP believe there are persons who have information that could result in an arrest and possible charges. The Twin Elms Motel discovered all of Jamie's belongings, including his passport, seaman papers, and all of his personal belongings. He was due to return to Newfoundland the following day on November 17th. Wyatt was roughly 5 foot 6 inches tall and weighed between 160 and 170 pounds. He had a medium build, blue eyes, and was bald with a fringe of gray hair around his head. Friends and family described Mr. Wyatt as a happy person who would strike up a conversation with anyone. Any person with information regarding the disappearance of Jamie Maury Wyatt should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. October 25th, 1984, 11 p.m., 20-year-old Ian David McKeagan is reported missing. He was last seen by a family member leaving his residence on Manor Lane, Halifax, driving a red 1978 Plymouth Horizon TC3 hatchback. McKeagan told the family member that he was going to meet some friends, possibly at the former Palace on Brunswick Street, Halifax, but has not been seen by family or friends since. Before Ian McKeagan's disappearance, he had graduated from a welding course in Sydney, Nova Scotia, and moved to Halifax in July 1984. He was employed in this trade for 2 weeks before disappearing. Police believe there are persons who have information that could result in an arrest and possible charges. Mr. McKeagan's vehicle, the red 1978 Plymouth Horizon TC3 hatchback, has never been found. The car also had a black interior with a Nova Scotia license plate numbered 573481 and a blue 10-speed bicycle with a missing front wheel stored in the back. Ian McKeagan had brown, medium-length hair, blue-green eyes, and was wearing a reddish-brown leather bomber jacket. He was also wearing a ring on his left hand, navy blue rugby pants, and red and white high-top leather basketball shoes. Any person with information regarding the disappearance of Ian McKeagan should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. March 28, 2004, around 1 p.m., police are called to 7132 Spruce Street in Halifax, Nova Scotia, about a male suffering from unknown medical problems. Responding officers then discovered 50-year-old Kevin James Petrie in medical distress. He was immediately rushed to the QE2 hospital, where he died of his injuries. Investigators say Petrie had been assaulted during a home invasion at 269 Pleasant Street in Dartmouth on March 17, 2004. Police believe those injuries contributed to his death and that there are people who have information about Kevin's homicide. We ask them to do the right thing and come forward with what they know, said police in a news release. It's never too late, and no piece of information is too small. It could be just what is needed to advance the investigation and find justice for Kevin and his loved ones. Like many other cases in Nova Scotia, not much information regarding the life of Kevin James Petrie is available, but just by looking at his photograph, I see an older man who appears vulnerable, a man who was victimized during a home invasion 11 days before he died, and for some reason didn't receive the medical attention required to save his life. Any person with information regarding the murder of Kevin James Petrie should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. May 22nd, 2005, police respond to a report of an injured person inside a residence at 6025 Lady Hammond Road in North End, Halifax during the early morning hours. RCMP would discover 32-year-old Leon Anthony Adams lying in a hallway, shot and suffering from his injuries at roughly 4:30 a.m. An RCMP news release stated that he was pronounced dead upon arrival at the QE2 hospital. Investigations revealed that Leon had been home earlier in the evening on May 21, 2005. It's believed that he left the residence for a short period sometime after midnight before returning home, where he would be tragically shot to death. Police are asking anyone who recalls being in the Lady Hammond Road area around the time of the murder or with information about what may have occurred that night leading up to the killing to contact police, who hope that the passage of time will encourage people to do the right thing and come forward with what they know. Halifax police said in a news release, "It is never too late to come forward, and the smallest piece of information may be just what is needed to progress the investigation. The murder of Mr. Adams is just another sad and tragic example of the ongoing problem with gun violence that has been plaguing Halifax for many years, and RCMP continue to struggle in their efforts to put an end to the senseless violence. Anyone with information regarding the murder of Leon Anthony Adams should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. October 8th, 2020, 48-year-old Sheila Patricia Madore was reported missing by a mobile outreach nurse who was familiar with her. On March 21st, 2021, human remains were found on the grounds of the Finley Community Centre at 26 Elliott Street in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, and were later identified as those of Sheila Madore. The medical examiner determined the cause of death to be homicide. Sheila Patricia Madore, who was known to have had a difficult life, was described by those who knew her as having a heart of gold and is remembered for her kindness and gratitude to those who helped her during her life. Madore was last seen in late July 2020 in the Gottingen Street area of Halifax. She had a tough life. She struggled with homelessness, food insecurity, and addiction, according to those who had met her. Sheila really was sincere and really grateful. You knew that you were helping someone who really did appreciate it, said Amanda Drake, who had seen Madore on the street a number of times. That broke my heart, that she had nobody in her life to even report her missing, that she just went unnoticed. Drake added, "I think people don't want to help homeless people because they feel like they did that to themselves, so a lot of people just turn a blind eye to it. But you just have to remember that they started out somewhere. They are somebody's someone." Anyone with information about the murder of Sheila Patricia Madore should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. January 28th, 1988, 7:20 a.m., RCMP respond to a report from a citizen who was walking on a pathway at Maybank Sports Field, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, near Micmac Boulevard, and found an unresponsive male laying on the pathway. Upon police arrival, victim 23-year-old Derek Allen Lowe was found dead, having suffered a fatal gunshot wound. The investigation revealed that Derek Allen Lowe had last been seen on the evening of January 27, 1988, in a bar in the north end of Dartmouth. Police believe Mr. Lowe was involved in the local drug trade. Police have yet to charge anyone with Lowe's death. Like many unsolved murders in Nova Scotia, finding information about Derek Allen Lowe proved difficult, but it's not hard to imagine that Lowe's connection to the drug trade and illegal activity could have possibly been the motive for his murder. Perhaps an unpaid debt influenced an enemy to commit the act, or perhaps he was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whatever the circumstances, I can't help looking at Derek Allen Lowe's picture without seeing a smiling but clearly troubled face looking back at me. I see someone on the edges of ordinary society who appears far more aged and worn out by hard living than 23 years on this planet should have left him. I see a man who, although troubled, deserved the opportunity to turn his life around, but was gunned down in the darkness before he ever had the chance. Anyone with information regarding the murder of Derek Allen Lowe should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. October 14th, 2020, police began a missing persons investigation for 32-year-old Ryan James Jessup due to family members not having any contact with him since late September 2020. Investigations uncovered that Ryan Jessup was last seen in the vicinity of Dartmouth Crossing in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia on the evening of September 27, 2020. He has not been seen by friends or family since and has had no contact with anyone on various social media platforms which he was active on. Ryan Jessup is described as a white male, 5 foot 10 inches tall, 175 pounds, with green eyes, dark brown hair, and various tattoos. He was last seen wearing a blue tracksuit and a black puffy Guess vest with white lettering on it. Jessup's disappearance came 11 days after police announced they had obtained an arrest warrant for Jessup on charges related to a break-in and assault in Cole Harbour on September 9th, 2020. He would be charged with assault causing bodily harm, choking to overcome resistance, break and enter, mischief, 2 counts of breaching a court order, and 3 of breaching probation. Police and Halifax search and rescue volunteers spent October 17th and 18th searching the woods near the intersection of Finley and Shuby Drives in Dartmouth Crossing as part of their investigation. Jessup has about 30 convictions on his criminal record since 2008, including several for firearms and drug offenses. He was seriously injured in a shooting outside a Dartmouth apartment building in February of 2009. Any person with information regarding the missing persons case of Ryan James Jessup should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090. March 9th, 2007, at 3:00 p.m., 31-year-old Michael Thomas Forgeron was discovered by friends at 12 Convoy Avenue, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and was pronounced dead at the scene after authorities were called. The death was ruled a homicide, but police have never released the cause of death. There was very little information regarding this case to be found online, but one Reddit user commenting on the case stated, "I went to elementary school with Mike. He was a decent kid. Very tragic ending. Please volunteer information if you have it." Halifax Regional Police stated in a news release, investigators believe there are people who have information that has not yet been provided to police that could help solve Michael's murder. We hope that the passage of time may encourage someone to do the right thing and come forward with what they know. Another individual commented in the Facebook group, "Rest in peace, Mike, we will miss you," stating, I still think of his beautiful smile. No matter where he'd be, it lit up the whole spot. Another Facebook user wrote, "Missing you on your birthday, brother. Fucking mutts took away the best guy in the city." The tribute page is filled with countless comments from many, many different people, all mourning Michael and discussing what a great person he was. And I think it says quite a lot about a young man who was, like many others in Nova Scotia, taken far too soon. Any person with information regarding the homicide of Michael Thomas Forgeron should call the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program at 1-888-710-9090.